chosen one. A notification concerning a very large sum of money may have just appeared before you, but the first thing I want you to do is not rush to open it. Instead, keep your heart calm so that you can see clearly what is truly happening. Perhaps you noticed an unusual alert, a line saying that money was being transferred to you, or a message that looked like nothing more than a system error. Your heart may have begun beating faster in that moment, because you have waited for a financial change for a very long time. I understand that feeling. I know the nights when you quietly calculated every expense, the times you had to postpone a plan because you could not yet afford it, and the moments when you smiled before others while carrying tremendous pressure within. Therefore, when something resembling a miracle appears, it is natural for you to want to believe immediately that the waiting has ended. But I remind you that a genuine blessing is not afraid of examination. What is good does not need panic, threats, or the feeling that you must act now or lose everything in order to force you into action. If the money truly exists, confirm it through safe and transparent means. Do not click an unfamiliar link merely because the notice says you have only a few minutes left to claim the money. Do not give your password, verification code, card number, or personal information to anyone claiming to be the sender, a bank employee, or a representative of some system. Open your bank's official application yourself, check your balance and transaction history, or contact the financial institution through a trusted telephone number. I am not saying this to extinguish your hope. I say it because wisdom is also a form of protection. Some doors appear bright and beautiful from the outside, while deception lies behind them. Some promises target the very place where you are in need, so that you will hastily lower your guard. You do not need to be afraid, but you must remain alert. What truly belongs to you will not disappear, merely because you take more time to verify the truth. Even so, the appearance of this notification may be touching something deeper than money. It may be revealing how deeply you long to be seen, supported, and reassured that your quiet sacrifices have not been meaningless. Perhaps you have wished that someone would understand your story without requiring you to explain everything. You have helped others even when you were in need, kept your word when doing so was inconvenient, and chosen kindness in circumstances where no one was watching. Therefore, the thought that a stranger may have heard about you, been moved by your journey, and desired to give something good in return naturally touches your heart. There is nothing shameful about that. The desire to receive, after many months of continually giving, is deeply human. But I want you to remember that your worth does not depend upon whether anyone sends you money. You remain precious when your account balance is low. Your life still has purpose even before you see a breakthrough. You still deserve respect when there is no material evidence proving your success. If, after checking, you discover that the transaction is real, do not allow excitement to make you act recklessly. Some payments are transferred by mistake, some transactions can be reversed, and some people deliberately send money and then ask you to return it through a different method as part of a scheme. Wait for official confirmation before using it. Preserve evidence, verify the sender, and clarify the purpose of the payment. If the sender genuinely wants to help because they heard your story, sincere generosity will welcome transparency. They will not ask you to pay a fee in advance, require you to send money to a third party, or threaten you into secrecy. Genuine generosity does not bind the recipient through fear. It does not make you feel so indebted that you abandon sound judgment. Be grateful, but maintain boundaries. Be humble, but do not hand control of your life to someone you do not yet understand. If it is only a false notification, do not allow disappointment to pull you downward. The fact that you wanted it to be real does not mean you are naive or weak. It only means you are tired and longing for relief. Use the moment to examine how you are building your financial foundation. I do not want you to live by unexpected promises while neglecting small, practical, and sustainable steps. A life of stability is usually formed through hard work, discipline, learning, management, and wise decisions repeated each day. A miracle sometimes arrives as an unexpected gift, but often it arrives as a job opportunity, a new skill, a trustworthy relationship, or an idea you have postponed for far too long. Do not focus only on money from a stranger while overlooking the doors already within your reach. I also want you to review previous messages you may have overlooked, but do so calmly rather than from fear of missing out. Among them, there may truly be a legitimate notification, a response, a refund, an invitation to collaborate, or an opportunity requiring attention. However, you do not need to believe every claim merely because it promises something significant. Distinguish an opportunity from a trap through authenticity, transparency, and verifiability. What is true can withstand questions. What is false often attempts to prevent you from thinking. When someone pressures you to act immediately, take a step back. When they ask you to keep a secret, consult someone trustworthy. When they say you must pay money in order to receive money, stop. Peace is not found in hastily grasping everything that shines, but in the ability to choose wisely what truly deserves an open door. My child, great support may indeed be on its way to you, but I do not want you to receive it with hands trembling from fear. I want you to receive it with gratitude, discernment, and self-control. If the money is real, use it first to stabilize urgent needs, meet necessary obligations, create an emergency fund, and think carefully before making major decisions. Do not immediately tell everyone, nor rush to spend it in order to prove that your life has changed. Abundance must be preserved through wisdom. Let what you receive become a foundation rather than a flame that rises quickly and then disappears. If you are able, set aside a portion to help someone truly in need, but only if doing so will not return you to hardship. Therefore, today's message is not an instruction to open a link or believe in an unverified miracle. It is a lesson that hope and caution can exist together. You are allowed to expect something good while protecting yourself from deception. You are allowed to rejoice over good news while still checking the facts before acting. Open the official application, verify with the relevant institution, and keep your security information private. If it is real, caution will not cause you to lose it. If it is false, discernment will keep you safe. Whatever the outcome, you have not been forgotten. You are still moving forward, and your restoration does not depend upon a single notification. Keep your heart peaceful, your eyes clear, and your feet steady, because what is truly good and meant for you will not need deception in order to reach you, my beloved child. A financial opportunity is drawing near, but what I want to see first is not a hastily written comment. I want to see genuine readiness in the way you think, choose, and prepare to receive something new. If you wish to say that you are ready, let those words begin in the deepest part of your heart, where no one sees and no outward recognition is required. I do not measure your faith by a sentence appearing on a screen. Nor do I allow your future to be determined by whether you respond within a few seconds. Genuine agreement with blessing begins when you stop seeing yourself as someone who will always lack. Stop allowing the past to define your limitations and begin believing that you can receive something good without feeling guilty. When you say, "I am ready to receive," understand that you are also becoming ready to receive the responsibility, wisdom, and discipline required to preserve what is given. I know you have waited for a breakthrough for so long that sometimes merely hearing the word opportunity makes your heart want to cling to it immediately. You have endured days of calculating every small amount, nights of worrying about unresolved needs, and moments when you quietly sacrificed so that others would not realize you were struggling. I saw the times you placed your own needs last and smiled so your loved ones would feel at peace, even while you carried a weight difficult to describe. Therefore, I understand why you desire a great change to come quickly. However, do not allow longing to become recklessness, because not every promise wrapped in brilliance deserves trust. What is truly good does not need to threaten you that the door will close unless you act immediately in fear. What belongs to the light will give you enough space to reflect, verify, and choose with a clear mind. Take a slow breath and allow your body to relax for a moment. You do not need to chase any prediction simply because it says, "A large sum of money is waiting for your name." I want you to learn how to receive hope while remaining alert. If a financial opportunity appears, examine its source, conditions, documents, and the responsibilities attached to it. If a stranger says they want to give you money, do not let emotion lead you to provide private information, send an advance fee, or ignore unusual signs. Wisdom is not opposed to faith. Wisdom is the lamp that helps you distinguish between a wholesome gift and a trap wrapped in sweet words. I do not want you to lose what you worked so hard to build, simply because you were longing for an instant miracle. What is approaching unexpectedly may not appear as money transferred by someone you have never met. It may be a new job, an invitation to collaborate, a customer who finds you, an idea that helps you create additional income, or an opportunity to use an ability you have never valued properly. Do not confine provision to one path. When you stare only at a particular number, you may overlook the smaller doors opening around you. An ordinary conversation may lead to an important connection. A skill learned during hardship may become a stable source of income later. A rejection today may force you to discover a more suitable direction. Sustainable blessing often does not merely give you a result. It gives you the ability to create value, manage resources, and continue growing, even when circumstances change. I know that some people have observed your journey without your awareness. They have seen your dedication, your sense of responsibility, and the way you continued showing kindness when you were treated unfairly. But do not place all your hope in someone appearing to rescue you. Help from others may become part of your journey, but you must still build a foundation through your daily choices. Work honestly, improve your abilities, complete what you have promised, and nurture healthy relationships. When opportunity comes, you will not be selected merely because someone feels sorry for you, but because your preparation has made you trustworthy. Your hidden sacrifices were not meaningless, but I want them to produce maturity rather than become a reason for believing that life owes you something. Perhaps you are wondering whether you deserve a major turning point. Remember that your worth is not purchased, through the number of days you have suffered. You do not need to endure more pain in order to prove that you deserve something good. Yet feeling worthy does not mean remaining still and waiting for everything to fall into your hands. You deserve respect, fair compensation, and the opportunity to live with stability, while also being invited to become someone who acts, learns, and takes responsibility. The most beautiful restoration occurs when you not only escape lack, but also escape the mindset that repeatedly returns you to the same cycle. If you once spent money to fill an inner emptiness, learn to pause. If you once lent money because you feared losing affection, establish boundaries. If you once trusted promises without evidence, strengthen your discernment. When money comes, whether the amount is great or small, receive it with gratitude, but do not allow excitement to destroy your balance. First, protect essential needs, address important obligations, and reserve something for the future. Do not rush to prove your transformation by buying things so that others can see. Abundance does not need noise to have value. You can improve your life without displaying it, help others while maintaining boundaries, and enjoy the fruit of your labor without forgetting the lessons of your season of scarcity. Money in the hands of an aware person can become a tool for building, healing, and creating new opportunities. In the hands of someone unprepared, it can widen old cracks. Therefore, I do not merely want to give you more. I want to teach you how to become someone capable of managing more. You also do not need to share a message in order to activate an anointing or prove that you possess enough faith. Share when doing so can bring healthy encouragement to another person, not because you fear losing a blessing if you remain silent. Love does not operate through threats, and grace is not exchanged for likes. If a message truly touches you, allow it to bear fruit in your life before sending it to others. Your loved ones need to see a new calmness within you, the way you use money more wisely, the way you no longer react from panic, and the way you continue doing what is right even before results arrive. That is a testimony more powerful than any comment. I want you to remain with this message, not because money will disappear if you leave, but because you need to remember that genuine breakthrough begins with awareness. You are no longer a passive person waiting for a stranger to determine your destiny. You have the right to learn, search for opportunities, negotiate fairly, and reject unclear offers. You may pray, but you also need to plan. You may expect the unexpected, but you must still care for your current responsibilities. You may believe the future can become better without denying the numbers presently before you. When faith and responsibility walk together, you become less vulnerable to manipulation through promises that are too beautiful, while also recognizing genuine opportunities that do not need to advertise themselves loudly. Therefore, my beloved child, if you wish to say, Amen, let it mean that you agree to enter a wiser way of living. Let the sentence, I am ready to receive, refer not only to money, but also to maturity, responsibility, and the ability to use what is entrusted to you for good purposes. You are ready to receive an opportunity, but you are also willing to learn the skills it requires. You are ready to receive abundance, but you are also willing to release habits that cause resources to disappear. You are ready to receive support, but you will not surrender control of your life to anyone's promise. I have seen your journey, the sacrifices no one knew about, and the times you continued forward while your heart was weary. Now open your heart with peace, keep your mind awake, and prepare your hands wisely. When something good arrives, It will not need to make you lose control. It will meet you in readiness, help you stand more firmly, and enable you to become a source of blessing to those you have been entrusted to love. Understand this. People are rarely unsettled by what they fully understand, but they may become confused when standing before someone whose inner life is stable and cannot be directed through pressure. I have placed within you the ability to think deeply, which is why you do not easily surrender control of your thoughts to flattery, coldness, or emotional games. When others cannot predict your reaction, they may feel that they are losing the advantage upon which they usually depend. They are accustomed to believing that a provocative remark will create anger, silence will produce fear, or inconsistent attention will make another person chase them. But you are learning not to react according to that pattern. You know how to pause before answering, look beyond what is being presented, and keep the power of decision in your own hands. This is not coldness. It is evidence that you have matured through what you have endured. Some people gain a sense of power by making others constantly explain themselves, prove their worth, or pursue their approval. They use changing attitudes, vague statements, or contradictory signals to create insecurity. Yet you are no longer easily drawn into those cycles as you once were. You have realized that sincerity does not need to leave anyone confused, and healthy love is not built through guessing games. When someone intentionally hides their motives or repeatedly changes their behavior to test your boundaries, you can recognize the inconsistency without participating in the game. You do not necessarily need to expose them, argue until the end, or prove that you understand everything. Often, your strength is simply stepping back, remaining calm, and refusing to give more energy to what lacks honesty. The ability to see the strings before they are pulled does not mean that you must suspect everyone. I do not want discernment to become an obsession that causes you to see schemes everywhere. What I have given you is awareness to recognize repeated patterns. Words that do not agree with actions, kindness that appears only when someone needs something, or great promises repeatedly used to delay responsibility. You observe not to condemn, but to protect your peace. You recognize patterns not to place yourself above others, but to choose more wisely. A mature mind does not immediately believe everything, but neither does it immediately treat everyone as an enemy. It knows how to wait for time to reveal the truth, examine through action, and keep the heart open while guarding its door. Your intelligence is not measured only by what you learned at school, the scores you achieved, or the certificates that may hang upon a wall. Those things have value, but they cannot measure the full depth I have built within you. Your wisdom was formed through times when you entered confusion, yet still found the central truth, and through days when no one guided you, but you learned how to correct your own course. Others may follow the loudest voice in the room. While you often notice the small detail everyone else has overlooked. You hear the silence between words, see the contradiction between appearance and actual results, and recognize when a seemingly complicated problem arises from one simple truth no one wishes to admit. For this reason, your words do not need to be lengthy in order to carry weight. At times, you speak only one gentle sentence, yet it touches the very thing everyone else has been avoiding. You do not need to shout in order to be heard, because truth spoken calmly may travel farther than every argument. Your silence is the same. It is not an emptiness produced by fear, but can be a conscious choice. You remain silent when you understand that the other person is not seeking truth, but merely trying to pull you into a reaction. You remain silent when you know that words spoken in anger could destroy something you would regret for years. You remain silent to observe, reflect, and avoid betraying the values you have chosen. Yet when necessary, you must still speak clearly. Peace does not mean accepting injustice, and composure does not mean allowing others to cross every boundary. True strength does not need to be displayed like a medal. A person with inner strength does not continually remind others that they are deep, intelligent, or difficult to deceive. They simply live consistently, and over time that consistency speaks for them. Therefore, do not become troubled when some people consider you too cautious, too perceptive, or difficult to understand. They may have seen only a small part of what you have experienced. Some will call your boundaries distance, because they are accustomed to entering other people's lives without permission. Some will call your observation suspicion, because they want you to believe what has not been proven. Others may become uncomfortable when you do not react as they expected. Let them have their opinions, but do not allow their judgments to become the only mirror through which you evaluate yourself. Even so, you must remain humble. Seeing something others have not yet seen does not make you superior. Every person has a different way of receiving, a different pace of growth, and different experiences. There will be times when you are right, but there will also be times when your understanding is incomplete. Therefore, let wisdom always walk with the willingness to listen. Do not turn depth into a wall that prevents you from receiving correction. Do not reject every form of guidance merely because you were once manipulated. A wise person is not someone who never changes their mind, but someone secure, enough to consider new evidence without feeling that their dignity is threatened. You may trust your intuition while still examining it through facts, time, and counsel from trustworthy people. Perhaps you have noticed that people who once ignored your opinion later returned, seeking your advice. Some opposed what you said, but months later began using the same perspective as though they had discovered it themselves. This can be disappointing, especially when they do not acknowledge the source or never gave you public respect. I understand that feeling, but do not imprison yourself in the need to prove who learned from whom. A good idea can still bring value when it spreads, even when your name is not mentioned. Nevertheless, this does not mean you must remain silent when your work is repeatedly taken from you. In professional environments or important situations, you have the right to document your contribution, clarify your role, and request fair recognition. Do so professionally rather than bitterly. Observe carefully. Someone who respects you privately but denies you publicly may not be worthy of your deepest trust. Unspoken admiration may be genuine, but if it is continually accompanied by dismissal, imitation, or exploitation, you need to create distance. Do not look only at how they approach you when they need an answer. Observe how they treat you when they need nothing. Someone who truly values you will not merely receive your wisdom, but will respect you as a person. They will not use your words to lift themselves while leaving you standing in the shadows. They know how to express gratitude, give credit, and offer support when you need it. Learn to distinguish between someone who learns from you with appreciation and someone who merely wants to collect what benefits them without building a fair relationship. I want you to move forward calmly, without displaying power or living for the purpose of making anyone acknowledge your depth. Let the way you work, keep your word, and respond to pressure become the evidence. When others speak much, listen. When they attempt to pull you into confusion, return to clarity. When your ideas are dismissed, continue developing them until the results speak for themselves. When someone returns asking for advice, you may choose to help, but you do not have to sacrifice yourself in order to rescue everyone. Your wisdom is a gift that must be shared in the right place, with the right person, and at the right time. Keep it within when silence is wise. Speak when truth needs to be protected, and always remember that the greatest power is not controlling others, but refusing to allow anyone else to control your peace, thoughts, and choices.